Hey guys, welcome to the 2024 Outback. What I want to do is kind of go over some of the features here on the dashboard before we take this car for a test drive. But with any, premium Outback or higher, you're going to get keyless entry. So it is going to be push button start, which is really, really nice. You just put your foot on the brake, hit this button right here, and it's going to go ahead and turn the car on for you. Now, to go over a little bit of the features on the home screen, we do have our Subaru dashboard right here. This particular premium Outback does come equipped with navigation, which is really, really nice. Keep in mind, this navigation will still work regardless if you don't have cell phone signal, but these cars do come equipped with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So even if you get one that doesn't have navigation built in, you can still get directions when you project your phone into the car. Now, coming down here, you do have a quick menu for vehicle controls. It's a little button that's the shape of a car. This is going to give you a whole bunch of a vehicle driving assistance and other things that control the car, like auto vehicle hold, which at stops, the car will hold the brake for you, which is really nice because, believe it or not, you won't even realize how much fatigue you get on your heel and on your leg on long drives when you're going from gas to brakes. Every SUV essentially does come equipped with X mode, which, even though Subarus are all-wheel drive, X mode is just another layer of confidence whenever you get into sketchy situations. But this menu is also accessible through the regular settings menu. That's just a shortcut. So if you go over here, you go to car, and you'll get, it looks a little bit different, but you'll get a lot of the same controls on this menu here. Now, whenever you're trying to pair your phone to the vehicle, you could press this little icon down here, or you go into settings and you'll go to phone and manage devices. You can add and pair an Android or an iPhone to this vehicle, and it'll mirror the actual experience you get on this home screen. So this will change completely and look like either a giant iPad or a giant Android tablet. Now, going back here, you can hook up your car via Bluetooth and still accept calls, things like that on this vehicle without having to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So if you don't love those features, they don't force it upon you, but it is there just in case you want it. Now, down here, you see this A with the little arrow wrapped around it. That is auto start stop, which all these cars, in order to keep the earth a greener place, they stop the Subarus from idling at a stop. Which once you let your foot off the brake, it'll cut the car back on, turn the engine over, or if you tap the gas very lightly, it'll do the same thing. Now, going back to the home screen, something I really love about the built-in navigation is that you don't get all this advertising like you do on Apple Maps or Google Maps. I can't tell where their nearest McDonald's or Starbucks is, but you can still search it up. I just like that it's not put in front of my face and not giving me the option to ignore it, which on TomTom, you're more than welcome to. You can also make the screen a little bit bigger, but this top banner here does show you what radio station you're on. It will show you which road you're on. So if I pull out here onto Satellite Boulevard, you'll see Satellite Boulevard pop up here. This is going to give you your thermostat, oil temperature, and your average speed. All of these things up here are shortcuts, and you can manipulate those to give you different types of information. You also get the weather, which I think is super handy, because if you're planning on going hiking one day and the trail is 3 hours away, you can see what the weather's going to be 3 hours from now or 6 hours from now. It's something that when I spent time living in Colorado was very important to me, because depending on where you're at in the state, it might be a whole different type of weather situation. Now, X mode is up here too. You can access it through this shortcut right here, but if you don't want to open up this menu, it is part of this top banner system. Now, back here at navigation, you do get a couple viewing modes. You can get top down. This is 3D. You can also fix it to the car. So right now I'm pointing north and the car is facing north too, but I can also fix it to north as well. So now the map is just going to show you what's north, east, south, and west. And then you'll see the little arrow on the main display rotate whenever you turn around. Now, going back here, I want to give you guys a short demonstration of how to pair your phone up to the car. You'll go down here. You're going to want to look on your Bluetooth menu on your phone itself and look for Outback. So being right here on this screen, I should see Outback pop up down here. Let's see. Right there. Click on it. I'm going to make sure that this pin matches up. Pair it. This is not my personal car, so I'm not going to allow it to sync my contacts, but if I wanted it to, I can get my whole phone book downloaded as well as addresses and anything you have programmed to your contact cards. Now it's going to spin for a couple more seconds, and then it's going to ask me if I want to set up Apple CarPlay, which I'm going to select yes. It's going to prompt you on the cell phone, but I use it pretty much everywhere I go. So here you'll see it says use Apple CarPlay. I'm going to select use it, hit yes here on the screen. If it's your personal car, set it up as your favorite device. That way when you get in the car, if there's several people in the vehicle with you that have also hooked up, if it's your car, you could set it up to have your phone as priority number one. Now, once it's synced, it's really great because if I swipe to the right here, I get maps up top. I also get quick directions to any of my favorite spots. I can control my music right here. So if I had Spotify playing, you would see an album cover here, and I'll show you a little demonstration. So if I click over here, get into Spotify, let's see, pick a song here. I don't know. Let's go to recently played. Let's listen to Hotline Bling. Now, just for example, I don't have the volume up, but if I go back to this screen here, now you'll see Hotline Bling playing down there on the bottom right. Now, any application you have on your phone that is compatible with Apple CarPlay will show up here on the home screen. You're going to have maps, messages, media, Apple News, audiobooks, calendar. Here's settings, and this goes through the Apple CarPlay settings, not your vehicle settings. I have Audible. If I wanted to order pizza from Domino's for the kids at home, I can do that while I'm out and about. I also can use Google Maps. So you're not locked into using Apple Maps. You can also use Waze if you have that downloaded, but Spotify is right here, YouTube Music. If I was driving Uber for work, I can also use the Uber driver app through my home screen here. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to a different part of this video. So something I forgot to mention is down here on the bottom, you do get your climate control settings. If I press this little window that you see with low and 78, this is the main control for your climate. You also do have some physical buttons here as well. Front defrost, rear defrost, heated seats. If I hold it for a split second, it'll turn it off all the way. But let's say I want it on medium heat or low heat, just press it a couple times and it'll give you multiple options. Something else that is pretty cool, if you don't want to get this screen covered in fingerprints, you can actually talk to the car. So if I do this as a short demonstration,
please say a command.
Turn on heated seats.
Turn on heated seat.
So you'll see down here, it turned on my heated seat, so I didn't actually have to press the screen for that at all. But if you don't want to talk to your car, you can also just press the screen. Myself, I typically keep a microfiber down here in my armrest just to wipe this down every now and then. But you can talk to the car too, which is awesome. Now, moving here to the steering wheel, you have vehicle controls on the right. You do have media controls on the left. This button right here with the car and the speedometer is your cruise control as well as your adaptive cruise control. The one that looks like a steering wheel is going to be your lane centering. Now, when you're using adaptive cruise control, if I press this button, you'll see an Outback pop up here on the main display. And these white bars is the distance that you're setting between you and the car in front of you. When the system recognizes that there's a vehicle in front of you, you'll also see another Outback show up in the front of yours. Now, if I want steering on, I press this button down here and you'll see the logo shows up there on the dashboard too. This little screen right here is your multi-function display. So it gives you a whole bunch of cool information. If I hit this switch here, I can see what's playing on the radio. I can see pretty much a shortcut to these settings up here. Compass, tire pressure, which when we start driving, it'll update and show you real-time pressure on each wheel itself. And then this here lets you know how well your car is saving gas when it's on auto start stop. This is how long the car's been on. So we've been here idling for about 17 minutes, but we're gonna go ahead and get started on this test drive. Now, this one does come equipped with wireless charging. So if you had a cell phone, you can slide it down here and it should start charging my phone. Let me see, unless I have to turn it on through the settings. But let's just focus on this drive real quick, take it for a quick spin. I really love the Outback. I personally drive an Ascent, but that's because I have 3 kids, so I need the extra space. But if I was still down with my 2 boys, I would just keep an Outback or a Crosstrek. They're great vehicles, but I do love my Ascent. It is very comfortable. As far as the Outback though, it is fantastic for long drives. I really couldn't complain. You're gonna sit in a comfortable position. You have tons of space in the back for cargo, luggage, or some equipment if you're going camping. As well as the Outback is the only Subaru that comes standard with crossbars, except for the wilderness trim. So if you ever needed to put some roof rack accessories, there are crossbars that come from factory that are built into the roof rails, which is super, super nice. So if you heard the car hesitate for a second, that was the auto start stop feature. So essentially it killed the engine for a second, so I'm not just burning gas for no reason. But let's get a short demonstration of the adaptive cruise control. So I already have it in standby mode right here. All I have to do is flick up on the switch. I'm gonna close the distance between us and raise the speed to the speed limit. But essentially, if this guy in front of me slams on his brakes, my car is going to try its best to keep the distance between me and him the same. And it will keep me from rear-ending somebody. Unless you slam on the gas, the car really just wants to make sure that you're in control. So if you correct it and continue pressing the gas, it won't stop you from rear-ending somebody. But right now I'm not pressing the gas, it's on cruise control. I'm not even gonna press the brakes here. Hopefully he stays in this lane and doesn't make a right. But I'm not doing anything. As you can see, the car slowing itself down on the speedometer. And my feet, if I could pull them back any further to show you, I would, but right now my feet are not on the brakes and not on the gas. The car is managing this all by itself. A lot of people think that this feature is only really good for the highway. I use it everywhere. So local roads, when I'm on long road trips, I use it. If I'm just going to the gas station up the road from my house, I'm going to use it. It helps me because it makes the car a little bit better on gas. I'm not slamming the accelerator every single time. And it has been holding the brakes this whole time. So if I flick up on the switch, it'll resume the drive. And the easiest way to explain it is that it's enough Tesla. Subaru doesn't want the car to drive itself. They just want your experience while driving the car to be a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to deal with. And the eyesight really steps in to assist you in that way. And one of the reasons why Subaru calls it eyesight is because we're the only manufacturer that actually uses dual cameras up top. And when you have 2 cameras, the car has actual depth perception, so it can tell how far something is from you without having to use additional sensors like radars or sonars, things like that. The car is actually helping you out with a second set of eyes up here. And again, I have not been pressing the gas or pressing the brake for any of this. The car is managing all of this by itself. fact that if you do have a lot of kids or even a couple, maybe just one, and they have friends over, if you're ever stuck in traffic with a car full of kids, it can be kind of hectic. But Subaru makes it a lot easier without you having to worry about people screaming in the back, going from brakes to gas when there's a lot of traffic. This just makes everything a lot more comfortable, in my opinion, at least when you got 3 little ones in the back. Let's cut those off. I guess while we're waiting here is a good time to show off the blind spot monitor. It's on the inside of the mirrors. It's on both sides, and these mirrors do look like they're heated as well. So if you live somewhere where the climate is a little bit colder and the glass is frozen over, you can actually defrost your mirrors. You don't have to bust out any scrapers to get visibility anymore. With any of Subaru's SUVs, they do come standard with 8.7 inches of ground clearance. The Outback is available in 2 configurations, one with a 2.5 naturally aspirated engine and another variant that has a turbocharged engine. Any Outback that you see that has a turbo is going to either be called an Outback XT or the Outback Wilderness, and the Wilderness trim level does give you an extra inch of ground clearance, and the car looks a little bit different, but at the end of the day, they're all Outbacks. And again, just, you know, I'm not trying to toot Subaru's horn, but I'm not using the gas or the brakes. The car's been managing this the whole entire time. If you see here, the blind spot monitor is going off, that yellow light, and it is daytime. It's very visible even in sunny conditions, and at nighttime, forget about it. There's no missing that. So we'll make a right up here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on 85 for a very brief moment. And we'll be back at the dealership in no time. This one that we're driving is equipped with a naturally aspirated engine, which, if you ask me, is more than enough power, even in states like Colorado where you're at a higher altitude. I actually started selling Subarus in Colorado, so I did meet a lot of people who either needed a turbo or a 2.5. Some of the 2-liter engines, like on the Imprezas and the entry-level Crosstreks, were a little bit underpowered for people who needed that extra oomph. But down here in Atlanta, Georgia, you're not going to need a turbo for it to be capable. We're nowhere nearly at that altitude where it's important to have a turbo. Now, if you want to go fast, then you need a turbo. But if you're just trying to get around town from point A to point B, the 2.5 is going to be more than enough. Probably noticing some yellow lights pop up on my windshield and a little message pop up on the dashboard. If I put this back into adaptive cruise control and reset it, if I let go of the wheel, you can see that this car is keeping me balanced. I'm not doing anything, and even if I try to go over to the next lane, it's going to correct me and put me back into this lane. I like to show this off because people don't like to test these features out when they're on a test drive. I'm very comfortable with this brand and this technology. I always explain to people that it takes about a week to get used to this self-driving features to make it a little bit more comfortable to use on the day-to-day. But again, I love it. Ever since I got introduced to it, I can't really think about not having it anymore unless I was driving, you know, like a sports car, a manual. But for just toting the family around town or just getting to the nearest campsite, this car is fantastic. Now, Subarus do come equipped with boxer engines. It doesn't matter which one you get, they're all gonna have a flat engine. It doesn't mean Subaru thinks the world is flat, but it does translate into better handling. And if you ever get into the situation where you get hit head on or you rear end somebody, since the engine is flat, they do design a crumple zone. So in that situation, the engine will break off of the chassis and go underneath the car. You don't ever have to worry about, if you're sitting up front, the engine coming through the dashboard and crushing your legs. Subaru went that far and thought about pretty much every possibility that could go wrong when you're out and about, and just made the car even safer. And that's one of the reasons why we do have the highest safety ratings in the market, and it's something that we're consistent with. A lot of people are catching up, but Subaru's always ahead of the curve by, I would say, a couple years. Almost back at the dealership. We're up here on the left. I'm not using the adaptive cruise control anymore. Once you tap the brakes, it does disengage it. But if you want to re-engage it, you just flick up on the switch. Oh, look, another pretty Outback. So we're back here at Subaru Gwinnett. I hope you guys liked that test drive. If you have any questions, or if you want to set up a time to stop by and drive one of these for yourself, please give me a call. My name's Anthony Castillo. My phone number is 678-973-7912. I look forward to speaking with you, and I hope you have a great day.